Well, a little bit of an update, YouTubers. If you've been watching some of my videos, you know I've been rebuilding this Caravan. I had to put a new head gasket on it. 2003 model. It has a VIN number V on the registration. You want to check to make sure what number you have. It's the 8-digit, and that's very important when you're putting these in time. I thought I'd just make a quick video here on getting this back in time and everything. I got my gears back on, and I got my plastic shield on in the back there and everything. Now what I'm doing now, oh by the way, when you do put your gears on, you don't have a way to lock these cams down. I just simply take some vice grips, and I have two pair. I usually just grab it in two different places. Usually there's two places like right there I can grab it, or there's a couple of places right there you can grab. Just don't grab it on the lobe, the cam where the lifter rides. There's a couple places there, and that's how I usually just torque those bolts down and get them pretty tight. Now, the key to getting this into time, some of the late model Caravans from in the 90s all the way up to 2001 are timed just slightly different. These are, I believe, the 2002, 2003 and up are timed just a little bit different. What I mean by that, basically all the same is the thing that you really have to watch is the marks on the gears right there. If you can see, there are, put my thumb there are two places cut in that wheel right there. And make sure it says 2-4 front up, like it does here. And the same thing on this back. We'll make sure it's straight up. The arrows are pointing up. Because the back side of that gear there for a 2.0. But where my thumb is there, you'll see a place there where it's kind of cut right there and right there. Then on this side of the wheel, there's another place that's cut. If I can find it, I didn't paint it right where my thumb is, and vice versa in the back. Now, some of the books tell you, some of the older models, you got to take this particular wheel there. That is the exhaust. I'm going to have to move this light to actually show you this. Bear with me here a second. This cam gear here, sometimes they want you to put this wheel down a notch to make sure that it's not even here. But this model with the B, 8th digit, they say just go ahead and point these two together where you can kind of see that cut there, and there, straight together. But this model, you do not have to drop this cam a half a tooth down in order to get it in perfect time. So be aware of that. You have to do a little research to make sure you're not doing the newer engine types, I guess, with the timing. Now on the bottom, of course, I'll drop down here real quick, and I got the crank dead center. There's the paint mark. I like to use nail polish with hardener. It makes it a great marking tool. And when you get ready to put this timing belt on, they want you to back this off a half a tooth. That way, when you slip the belt on, you can take the slack out of it. And what I mean by that, you want to turn it back this way. Do this again. You want to turn it back this way just a little bit. That way, when you turn this clockwise, you'll get the slack out of the belt. The timing belt up on top. So, hopefully you can understand that. I know I had to do a little research today because I was a little confused by what they were talking about, putting this exhaust gear half a tooth down. And some models, they tell you not to do that, just so you know. These 2.4s and 2.0s are a little fickled about that. And I guess there's maybe a valve clearance issue, I don't know. But this is a non-interference type engine, which is pretty good. Because if you break your belt or something, you will not screw up your valves, which means you can turn that crank and those valves will not hit the pistons, which is good. Now, some of the older Caravans, they're not like that. They're called interference engines, and if you break a belt or something and that cam keeps turning for some reason, you will bend valves. But this is a double overhead cam. So let me see if I can shine this light here one more time. It's not a perfect video, but I can go back and reference this stuff for myself later. That air conditioning hose is kind of in the way there. If I can bend it down a little bit, you might be able to see it there. And hopefully the camera will stay focused, but it's really kind of hard to get that set up there. But those marks are there. If you look closely, you can see them. On this particular model, the 2003 Caravan, they have to point straight at each other. And I know what I was going to tell you. The whole purpose of this video was I take a straight edge, maybe just a regular old blade off of a saw, and I'll lay it down here on the bottom. And in the back there, on that back wheel, I don't know if you can see that little mark. I'll put my thumb on it right back there. That tooth, I usually just take that blade and put it on that tooth and come back up the front. And if you can see that right there, there's another mark right there. I'll put my thumb on it right there on that tooth. Put that blade on those two like that. And if I hold that right just like that, you'll notice that where it comes across the center here, it's exactly where those two teeth are too. So basically, if you get a little straight edge or something, this is one way to make sure that you're going to be in perfect time when you go to put your belt and stuff back on. And I think you can see that down there. It's kind of hard to see. But yeah, you can do that. That's the whole idea. Those two gear wheels there, they have to be exactly straight across like this, pointing at each other. So I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and put the belt on. I'm going to slip the belt on. I'm going to turn it 2 revolutions, the crank, and make sure that we're back in time. And if we are, we should be good to go. So let me do that real quick. Okay, when you go to put your little tensioner back on, if this camera focus, hopefully you can see that little square hole right there, you can basically use a little tiny ratchet, get in there and stick that in there, and you can adjust this wheel once you get this bolt on there. That's how a lot of these are. Some of the older models, they have that long rod type of tensioner, hydraulic tensioner, and it's kind of hard to work with. So just get you a little ratchet, and that should work pretty well. And when you bolt that on there, you can adjust it. All right, let me go ahead and slip this belt on here and see how she rocks and rolls. Okay, finally got the timing belt on. Give you a look at it there. Got everything lined up. The crank down there on the bottom has the line mark straight up and down. Might be able to show you down here real quick. Hopefully you can see that. Some light would be nice. And looks like the paint marks are pretty much lined up there. You can see on the crank and the block. And up on the top, I've got the marks pointing pretty much right at each other. And like I said, I took that little blade that I had and I ran it across the back here like this to that back mark on that side over there in the back wheel. If you can see that, let's see, I think you can see it, to the front one, which is a mark right there. If you look in the center, it's pretty much, I can hold the camera here, I'm sorry about that, folks. There we go. It's pretty much right where it should be there in the center. Those marks. I think you can see it there, right there. So it looks like pretty much in time. It's not exact, it doesn't have to be perfect, but they have to be pretty much pointing at each other. And you can notice these two wheels are pointing at each other too. You want those directly from each other. So that's how you time your 2.4 Caravan and even the 2.0 Neons and etc. But like I said, you might want to check with the VIN number. I really don't understand that half tooth mark, which is really a stupid thing. I think maybe it's just because they tell you to turn the crank a half a tooth back. So when you turn the crank, it takes the slack out of the belt, and eventually those will line up, perhaps. I think that's what they're probably trying to say. I hope you can understand what I'm trying to say. But anyway, that is done. I'm going to go ahead and put the cover back on it, and basically I can go back and look at my own videos in the future for past references and stuff like that. So hopefully this will help you out. Oh, and by the way, one other quick note. When you're tightening up this tensioner, you don't want it real tight. You don't want to put this belt real tight. You still want a little slack in it, because if you get it too tight, it'll make a whirling sound like I've heard that in the past. It's kind of annoying. They're not supposed to be super tight, but they're supposed to have a little play in them. So just so you know, make sure that's the way it's supposed to be. All right, there you go. Thanks for watching, everybody.